The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Football fans, the time is now.
Give me a hell yeah!
For the football show you never knew you wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Broken Helmet.
And coming to you live on tape on this Sunday, October 19th, 2025. It is the best NFL show you have never heard of. It is the Broken Helmet. Rich Eggy here in the driver's seat. And to get in touch with the show, you can reach us at brokenhelmetshow@gmail.com or at Broken Helmet Pod on X or YouTube or wherever. So it is week 7. The week has already begun. We have been unable, my brother and I, to coordinate one measly hour. Chris, I'm looking at you to do this podcast. So he finally ultimately sent me his picks, and that's what we're going to rip through right now. We usually do 4 downs for this show, but we are just going to do 1 down. We're not even going to put the downs on the corner over here. We're just going to end up flying down the docket, doing all the games, giving you the picks, and then giving you our bets and our selections. And that's going to be even a little shady because my best bet was the Rams. As I'm recording this at 10 and change, the Rams are up 14-0 overseas. So let's just begin it. We'll get right into it right away. First game, Rams-Jaguars. Even though it started, I'm just going to give you our picks. I ended up taking the Rams. It was my best bet. And my brother also took the Rams. It was a trifecta game on the Jaguars. I couldn't really figure it out. But for whatever reason, people love Jacksonville in this spot. I know that Puka was out, but it wasn't enough to push me off the fact that I finally hopped on board with Jacksonville last week, and they burnt me. And I said, you know what? Enough. I'm going with my gut here. I'm not going with Jacksonville because now I hate them. And so I ended up going with the Rams. It was my best bet of the week, and they are up currently 14-0 in the second quarter. That brings us to our 1 o'clock games, and the first one is going to be Eagles-Vikings. This one in Minnesota. Currently, the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 43.5. This game, you're going to see the sharps in on the Vikings, and then 64% of the tickets and 53% of the money pool in on Philadelphia. Look, Philly looks like they're in trouble right now. I don't know if that's going to last the entire rest of the year, but right now, things don't look good. Coming off that Thursday loss to the Giants in week 6, and now you're sitting there stuck saying, I don't know, like the line was good. Now they're kind of not. Hurts isn't throwing the ball well. A.J. Brown is completely punched out. Our secondary is kind of shoddy. What the hell are we? So going into this spot here, I really wanted to go with the Eagles. I couldn't do it. So I ended up picking the Vikings. My brother also picked the Vikings in that one. Chiefs, they're going to be hosting the Raiders in an AFC West battle. This game, highest spread of the week, 12.5 points in favor of Kansas City. That's to go along with the 45.5 point over-under. So they are really expecting that the Raiders are just not going to show up here in Kansas City. It's a trifecta on top of that. Barely, though. 52% of the tickets, 52% of the money pool. So the same number there for both of those. I don't know how, you don't go with the Chiefs here. And it's a ton of points. 12.5 is a lot of points. I just, with the momentum that Kansas City has right now, the way that they are playing, and the fact that the Raiders have not looked good at all. The whole Pete Carroll experiment so far has been a failure. My brother's going to end up taking the Raiders. I'm going to end up taking the Chiefs. It was a lot of points. That was the one thing. 12.5 is so many points. And for a divisional game, right? You're talking about 12.5 points. But the Raiders don't need this game. Their season's done, right? I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, you're basically saying to yourself, I hope my Ashton Genty Rookie of the Year comes in. Right? That's what you're hoping for if you're a Raiders fan. And now that Jackson Dart got under center in New York, those tickets now have a big question mark on them. Because let's be real. If Dart continues to play average, average in New York. He probably runs away with Rookie of the Year, which is why he started a couple of games and now he's number one with a bullet. Um, I had a Buka. Buka tickets are good. I could punch out because I had him preseason, and I think I had him for 50, and I could punch out now for 150 and change or something. But I'd rather just let it ride because the play would be, even as a Giant fan, that Dart comes back down to earth. Maybe he's not fantastic while Book comes back and plays and takes off again. And I covered myself with a Genti ticket that I bought last week. You know, it's going to come down to Dart and whether or not Dart screws up those plans. So back to Chiefs, Raiders. Give me the Chiefs. Give my brother the Raiders. Bears Saints, this game in Chicago. Chicago is a 4.5 point favorite here. Trifecta game for the Saints. Everybody in on New Orleans. Not a lot, more so with the money pool with 64%. 47.5 is the over-under. My brother and I are both taking Chicago. Browns hosting the Dolphins. Read up on the weather in this one. All week long, they were saying there was going to be tons of winds. Then they were saying there wasn't going to be as bad winds. Doesn't matter. The over-under came down from 40.5 to 35.5. And the Browns are currently favored by 2.5. Sharps in on the Browns. And then the ticket and money pool is in on the Dolphins. I'm taking the Browns. This is almost a game. I didn't do this, but I did think about whether or not I wanted to take a swing using Cleveland as the survivor pick for the week, because there's not many games where you're going to see Cleveland that has a pretty good shot of winning, especially if the wins are what they are and the teams aren't passing and you're stuck to the ground game. I definitely lean more so for the Browns going home with the win there than the Dolphins. I didn't do it though, but I did take the Browns. So again, me and my brother in on the Browns. Next game is going to be in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the lowly 0 and everything Jets are in 0-6. Jets are hosting the Panthers. Panthers are currently road favorites by 1.5. Trifecta game again. Everybody in on Carolina. I am going to end up taking New York in this one. I don't know why. Again, it's a glutton for punishment pick. But if the Jets are going to win one game this season, it might be this one. Right? Because Carolina, albeit decent at home, I guess I have to accept that, even though I keep saying that they're trash. They have played better at home. You can listen to any NFL content creator talk about their splits at home versus the road. But I'm not doing it here. I'm taking the Jets here. My brother is taking the Panthers in that one. And final 1:00 game is Patriots in Tennessee for the newly coached Titans. Callahan and his dad shown the door. Get out of here.
You'll get nothing and like it.
And now we have a new era of Titans football. Patriots are 6.5 point favorites in this. 41.5 is the over-under. Go rewind real quick. I didn't give the over-under for the Panthers-Jets. It's 42.5. Not a lot of points. But they're expecting less in this Patriots-Titans game at 41.5. So again, New England, the 6.5 point favorite. Trifecta favorite as well. In the 70s for both the tickets and the money pool. Give Chris the Patriots in the 6.5. I really wanted to do it, but these are those change of the guard games I get scared of. So I ended up taking the Titans in this one. And that brings us to the 4:00 games. First of which is going to be the Chargers and the Colts. Probably the second best game of the week, even though both these teams have injuries on like impacting. Jesus, that was just. Let's just rewind. Probably the second best of the day. Oh, fuck.
You are a stupid asshole.
You're an idiot.
Because I'm fucking stupid.
That's exactly what he is.
Let's just do it again. Probably the second best game of the day, even though both teams are battling significant injuries that could impact their ultimate performance. Regardless, I'm going with the Chargers in this. I know their line is made up of basically bubblegum and duct tape at this point. The Colts, they've got a couple of things. I don't trust Daniel Jones at all. much less on the road. After hearing a bunch of people talk about this game, I think the Colts is probably the pick, but I don't care. I'm not going with Daniel Jones on the road. I'm going with the Chargers to pull this one out. It was 1.5. Now it's up to 2.5. Over under is 48.5. Sharps are in on the Chargers, and then you got big money and big tickets in on the Colts, as 82% of the ticket pool is in on them and 84% of the money pool. So a lot of people going with the Colts. Not me. I am going with the Chargers, and my brother is also going with the Chargers. Broncos Giants, my G-Man, going into Mile High to see if they can upset the Broncos here. It's going to be a tough call. At least that's what Vegas wants you to think. They put the spread at 7.5 points in favor of Denver here at home. 40.5 is the over-under. So this game's got no wind, and they're just expecting 40.5 points. So they're expecting that Broncos defense to give Giants fits today. The Sharps are coming in on the Broncos. 68% of the tickets are in on the Giants and 61% of the money pool. I am actually going to go in on the Giants too. I actually took them at 7 as the line has adjusted, half a point in my favor here. But I'm going to go with the Giant. Abdul Carter might not play. That's a huge loss on the defensive line because even though he doesn't have a sack, he has had a phenomenal year so far. And I'm hoping that Dart can be productive, doesn't, fall apart here on the road against a really tough defense. And I'm hoping that defense, even without Carter, presents some problems for Bo Nix. And again, I said this multiple times. I talked about it with Peltz yesterday, and I talked about it with Matt Kapline on Friday. I'm Bo Nix. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's a dice throw, I think. And I'm hoping that the dice comes up 7 here for the Broncos. So give me the Giants. Give my brother, though, the Broncos. Commanders, Cowboys. Commanders on the road. They were a 1.5 point favorite, and I think it is now flipped. I will do a last second check here as to what the spread is. But last I checked when I was waiting in line for bagels this morning after a super fun night celebrating one of my buddy's 50th last night. Uncle Bry, happy 50th. I hope you enjoyed. And I was getting bagels and checking the line, and it sure enough did switch. So the Cowboys now are a 1.5 point favorite at home against the Commanders. Commanders, of note, the wide receivers are banged up. Deebo Samuel not in. McLaurin not in. Cowboys getting CeeDee Lamb back for this game. They're going to be a trifecta bet here with the Sharps tickets and money all coming in on Dallas. For 54.5 is the over-under there. Is that accurate? Is that still 54.5? So many points. 54.5 points it is. So I'm going to end up going... I'm going to pause. I'm going to go my brother first. My brother's taking Dallas here and the 1.5. I picked the Commanders when they were a favorite. And now they'd be a dog, so I'd get that going my way. But again, after hearing people talk the past couple of days about this game, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm almost on the verge of going to the Cowboys. I hate switching picks, especially on the day of the show. But I think in this one I have to. I think I've heard enough people argue that Dallas is probably the right side here. And this is exactly why you should bet the Commanders right away. Because as soon as I do this, it's over. It's over. The Washington has lost. And I just did it. So congratulations, Cowboy fans, on the win. And I'm sorry, Commander fans. Flip around. I'm sorry, Cowboy fans, for the loss. And congratulations, Commanders fans, for that win there that I just guaranteed. Next on. I'm yammering here. Packers, Cardinals, this game in Arizona. Packers are a 7-point favorite now at 6.5. That got juiced up over the past 24 hours to 7. Right now, Packers are a trifecta bet. I talked about this game a little bit with Peltz. I originally was in on the Cardinals, and I think Peltz talked me into switching to the Packers here. We were talking that out, and 7 is just a touchdown, and he almost insta said they should win by multiple scores. Now, multiple scores could be 2 field goals, and that would just be one single score. Multiple scores got to be over the 7. So. Yeah, give me the Packers. Give me the Packers. Give my brother the Packers as well. I switched there. So congratulations, Cardinal fans, on the win. So here we go into the evening games. We will start with Sunday Night Football, where we will see the 49ers hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Currently, the 49ers are 1.5-point favorites at home to Atlanta, although nobody really likes them here in this spot because it is another trifecta game. We've had 3 trifecta games right in a row here. We've had the Cowboys, the Packers, and now everybody in on the Falcons. It's actually my brother's best bet, so lock in Atlanta for him. And it's quite, again, this is a Sunday night game, so you don't know how it hashes out. But right now, 76% of the tickets and 88% of the money pool is in on Atlanta. So 47.5 is the over-under. This was another game. I went with the 49ers. I thought I was going to flip as I sat here about 5 minutes ago, or longer than that, because I've been recording for about 15. But I think I'm going to stick with my pick of the 49ers. So give me the 49ers. Give my brother, however, like I said, the Atlanta Falcons. And then that brings us to Monday Night Football, where we have another one of these doubleheaders. Enough with these doubleheaders already. These Monday Night doubleheaders, it's like just straight duty. Duty. That's what I say. But we have another one here, and thankfully, if I remember right, these are going away next year. So we just have to tolerate one more season of these stupid doubleheaders. But the first one is going to see the Lions facing the Bucs. This is probably the best game of the week for me, the one I have the most interest in. Although the Buccaneers are hurt, we just don't know how hurt at this point. It sounds like Mike Evans might go. We'll see. Buccaneers are 5.5-point dogs here on the road. The Lions, obviously, coming off the Kansas City loss last week, which worked out for me because I had thumped on the Chiefs pretty hard, and it worked out to my advantage. But here, the Lions going to come home licking their wounds and are, at 5.5-point favorites. I like the Lions here in this spot. So give me the Lions at home and the 5.5. 77% of the tickets and 70% of the money pool so far on the other side. There were the Buccaneers. And is that where my brother's going to go? No, he is actually going to go with the Lions as well. So the Eggy brothers in on the Lions for game 1 of Monday Night Football. 52.5, the over-under in that one. And then we'll wrap up in Seattle, where Houston will be coming off the bye, headed in to play the Seahawks. Seahawks were a 3.5-point favorite. That has come down to 3. The over-under is 40.5. Trifecta game in this as well. We've got how many this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now 8. 8 trifectas this week. And how did we do last week with the trifectas? We'll just bounce and check it out real quick because we're going to come back to this anyway in a hot second. And as you can see, the trifectas last week were 0-5, 7-14 on the year. So not strong. And here we're going to have 8 of them, including this one where Seattle and Sam Darnold are going to be looking to send the Houston home with the L. 62% of the tickets, 58% of the money pool in on Seattle. Again, these Monday night games, especially the Sunday night game, will switch significantly when people end up losing their bets and they got to chase. So these night games are going to see a lot of fluctuation. But as of right now, Sunday morning, as we're doing this, these are the numbers. And so I'm giving the Seahawks in this one. I really like the Seahawks here in this spot. The Seahawks are kind of the same as the Jaguars to me. I doubt them. I go with them. I doubt them. I go with them. I doubt them. What am I doing? I don't know what to make of these teams. And I feel like I'm the mush because every time I bet on them, then they lose. So then I bounce off of them and then they win. So it's a no-win scenario for me. It's a Kobayashi Maru every time I go to fucking bet these games. So Seattle, 3, give that to me. My brother's going to be on the opposite side. He's going to take the Texans. And so that will bring us to our wagers and all of our picks. Like I said, we're not doing 4 downs here. We are just doing 1 down, and we're going to rip through it all. Doing good time here, 20 minutes. Again, just read the time code because I will be sure to print on there where the picks are and the time, so you can just skip to that and you could forget everything that I just said previously and get these picks. Now, again, these are going to be screwy because I had put some of my bets hinged on this Rams game. Again, currently 14-0 as we got 5 minutes here in the second quarter. And So some of this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. But let's just do a quick recap of what was last week as we bring it up here. And as you will see, the only thing to take away here, we'll go down to the items at the bottom of the screen there, the home dogs, big favorites, halftime lead, etc. Trifecta is the one that I'm going to point to because it was 0-5 last week, bringing it to 7-14 on the year. And we've got 8 of those this week. Halftime leads were 10-2, so that went back to normal. Big road favorites were 1-3, but on the year, they're still positive there. So me and my brother, how did we do? Not great. Last week, I was 4-11. He was 6-8 on the 272, where we pick all the games. Our super picks were both 2-3. And then best bet, he lost with Dallas. I won with Kansas City. And again, I pounded the table pretty hard for Kansas City, and that's where I put my wagers. Speaking of wagers, we'll go to that here, and that's where you can see here, Kansas City, I had them in these 3, and that ended up netting me a whole bunch of cash. I also had my money line parlays come in, both the 5-game base and then the 7-game extra on top of it. So that was great. But I did lose 250. So in the end, I ended up being up about 2 G's. My brother ended up winning 900. He was positive on the week. He won 900. And then he ended up losing 750 of that. So he did stay positive. And that puts us where? Here. So actually, my brother ended up down actually a hundo from last week. So I was up about a G. He was down about 100. I am still way behind him. My margin on the season is negative 16%, but I did get a quick steroid boost to that as I did hit last week. So my bankroll now just under 7,000. Chris is about 8,500. He started off at 9, so he's down about 500 on the year, so at negative 5.5%. We both took Indianapolis last week in Survivor, so we are still alive. Well, I am still alive. Chris ended up taking that Green Bay shot L earlier, which was, I believe, versus the Browns week 4. So, but we continue to pick on just to see how we would do regardless. So, and we will get to those picks now. So again, that's what matters right there. The wagers, it was all Kansas City for me last week, and we will see what happens now here in week 7. So again, I am behind him, so I go first. I will start off with my best bet. I picked the Rams. It was -3, and that's what I've got. My brother ended up going with Atlanta. Our Survivor picks are different this week. I ended up taking Survivor Chicago to move along. I looked at Chicago. I looked at Cleveland. I looked at Kansas City. I looked at Green Bay. New England as well, but I stayed away from New England only because I hate the new coach aspect to any Survivor pick. And so I did not even think about New England as soon as Tennessee ended up getting rid of their coach. So looking down the line, Kansas City's got Houston, they've got Indianapolis, and they're just a good team. Chicago, I think, is a good team. They do have the Giants, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland down the road. But, I'm still not 100% sold on Chicago, but I like them in this spot. So give me Chicago as my Survivor pick. As for my brother, he ended up going Denver against my Giants, so he can go fuck himself. Super contest picks. Here we go. Mine were the Rams, which was my best bet. I then took the Chargers minus the 1.5. I took the Giants -7. Like I said, Chris, go screw. I took Detroit and Seattle in Monday night. I took the Detroit in the 5.5, Seattle and the 3. As for my brother, he ended up taking New England. Again, my brother does not take his best bet in his Super Contest picks, so Atlanta is not in here. He took New England. He took Chicago. I like that. That was my Survivor. He ended up taking Dallas versus Washington. He took Detroit, and then he took Houston. So we're both in on Detroit. We're on opposite sides of the other Monday night game, and then we differ across the board before that. Now for our wagers. So I will begin. I'm going to do this. We'll start off money line. Give me the following: Kansas City, Chicago, Detroit, and the Rams. Again, like I said, this is a little screwy because the Rams are currently playing, and now they're up 21-0. So that one is going to be a cash. But Kansas City, Chicago, Detroit, and the Rams, 50 for 175 in return. Then I'm going to add 2 on top of that, same as I did last year. I did it last year too a couple times. But I'm going to take New England and the Chargers for an additional 17 parlay. So Chiefs, Chicago, Detroit, Rams, New England, and the Chargers. Give me 25 for 211 in return. Now let's do some field goal only bets. And that is going to be the Rams by -2.5, the Chargers by 2.5. 50 for 166 there. Then tack onto those two another 2 field goal games. Detroit by 2.5, Seattle by 2.5. So that's 25 for 202. If those four teams hit, let's add another one on top of it. So let's do the next 2, but these are not going to be field goals. These are going to be blowout city. These are going to be the teams that just run away from it because the spreads don't matter. The market is so efficient that these teams, when they win, they're just going to walk away from it. And that is going to be Chicago -6.5, Chiefs -6.5. So the Chiefs I'm actually bringing down because it's 12.5, but I'm going to put it at -6.5, so they just got to win by a touchdown. And then in this one, I'm hoping that the Bears at home blow out the Saints and win by a touchdown or more. So again, Rams, Chargers by a field goal, Detroit, Seattle on top of that by a field goal. And if all 4 of those hit, then maybe Chicago and the Chiefs can win by a touchdown. And that I'm going to put 25 to bring back 593 on. Continuing in with blowout city, give me the Rams and the Chargers -6.5, 25 for 194 there. And then add on top of that 2 kind of safe bets, Detroit and Seattle money lines. So again, if the Rams and the Chargers lock up these blowouts, then I sit on Monday night and I get to play around a little bit and hope that Detroit wins and then Seattle wins. And at any given point, depending on what the payouts are, I can kind of ride it and cash out in the middle there. Detroit ends up looking good and Seattle doesn't. Have to see how it plays out. Anyway, for that one, give me 25 for 418 in return. Give me a dogs parlay. Give me Minnesota -2.5 and the Giants money line. So I'm going to move Minnesota to be a field goal win. And then the Giants, I just want them to win on the road because the -7, the money line is fine. So Minnesota -2.5, Giants money line, 25 for 220 in return on that one. Now, I had Matt Kapline from Low Stress Bets on, and I listening to him and how he wagers and looks at his bet construction, I try to take a stab. Now, one of these I think might ring true. The other ones are kind of in the idea of what he does, but I don't think the numbers work based on his strategy. But so low stress bets. Give me the Giants +17.5. And then give me Detroit and the money line. Again, Detroit money line, they just have to win at home, which I think they should versus the Bucks. I've been wrong before, but I think they should be good. And then the Giants have to simply not get blown out on the road in Denver. And I trust them to do that. So this would allow me to watch the Giants kick back. And if they end up getting the +17.5, then I can just look at the Denver game, Detroit game on Monday Night Football, and then enjoy a Monday Night Football where I can see some money come in. So Giants 17.5, Detroit money line. Give me 100 for 167 in return. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when I put those together, the combined odds were greater than -150. And so that would fall with the methodology of Matt Catline at Low Stress Bets. Now, the next 2 kind of were not, but they were safer bets, right? So maybe not low stress, but safer. Chicago money line, Detroit money line. Give me 100 for 194 there. And then with the next one, give me the Chicago money line and the Kansas City money line. Give me 100 for 161. I believe those numbers rang true to his formula. So that might be an actual low stress bet there. So again, Kansas City, Chicago money line parlay, 100 for 160. And then throw on top of that the Rams +3.5 and the Detroit money line. And the Rams, obviously, here as they're up 21 points, that +3.5 is good. The Detroit money line, give me 50 for 148 for that 4-team parlay. Again, Chicago money line, Kansas City money line, Rams +3.5, and the Detroit money line. Now we will do a really? We're going to do this bet? And that's going to be Cleveland -2.5. Carolina -2.5, and then the Green Bay money line. Why is this the really bet? Because I'm betting on the Panthers and the Browns, and I don't want to bet on the Browns and the Panthers. What the hell are we doing here? Really? We're doing this? Yeah, we're doing it. So 25 for 117 in the really bet. let's do let's do some parlays. These are gonna be the last three, and we'll punch out here. I'll give you Chris's, and then we're done. Rookie tight ends. I'm gonna do a 3-leg rookie tight end, rookie touchdown parlay. Give me Junkins, give me Scattaboo, and give me Bill. Give me all three of those for a tutty, and then 25 for 179 in return there. Then I try to use that low stress bet approach toward player props. And what I did was this. I did Stafford, Mahomes, and Goff all over 225 in the air. And so if those three hit, 25 for 69. I know. It's funny. Every time you say it, it'll never get old. Although 6-7 is taking over, right? I mean, 6-7 is now the joke. But yes, so 25 for 69 in return for that. And then the final prop of the day. Let's say Scattaboo doesn't get his touchdown and ruins that parlay of mine. Well, you know what? Can't you see Jackson Dart running in as they fake it to Scattaboo and Dart moves around and gets a touchdown? And then can't you see later on in the game when the Giants have a lead and then they do the same thing again and Scattaboo gets a fake up the middle and then Dart runs around and hits the other side and then it's just Yahtzee time. Dart over 2 touchdowns, and those would have to be running, obviously not passing. Dart 2+ touchdowns, $25 for $900. Woo! Let's go. Let's fucking go. What is that? The new dude, Rowdy Rhymes saying? Let's get this money. Let's get this money. So, all right, now my brother. His is infinitely easier to do. Atlanta plus 1.5, 250 for 550 in return there. Moneyline parlay. Give him the Rams and Houston. Obviously, the Rams are going to check in, so he's going to hope Houston comes in at this point. 150 for 575. Give him a 4-team alt spread parlay. New England minus 2.5, Minnesota plus 7.5, Chicago minus 2.5, and Cleveland plus 3.5. So New England's got to win by a field goal. Minnesota can lose by a touchdown. Chicago's got to win by a field goal, and Cleveland can lose by a field goal. And that is 250 for 10-10 in return. And as I talk that out, I kind of like that bet. I'm not going to steal it, but I do kind of like a little bit of that. What don't I like? No, I kind of like everything. I guess Cleveland at home, but I like Cleveland at home. So that one's a good. That one I like. So 250 for 110 out of Chris there. Next one, 3-team alt line parlay. Green Bay minus 2.5, so they got to win by a field goal. The Chargers plus 3.5, so they can lose by a field goal at home. And then Dallas plus 3.5, they can lose by a field goal at home. 250 for 680 in return there. And then finally, his last one, another alt line parlay. Atlanta plus 7.5. Detroit minus 2.5. And then Houston plus 7.5. So Atlanta can lose by a touchdown. Detroit can win by a field goal. And then Houston can lose by a touchdown. That is 250 for 675 in return for Chris. So that does it. That is everything that we've got for week 7. Get your bets in, bet responsibly, all that good stuff. I will try to return when I can this week. Again, trying to do more interviews, got a couple in the hopper, and then we will try to review what happened here and get a full Let's Bet show in before week 8 next week. Chris, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you, buddy. Talking to you. So everybody else, enjoy your Sundays. Audi 5000.